Well, hey there YouTube, it's Brendan, aka Cliff Jumper. Welcome back to the channel. And we are back from Hawaii. This is one of my take-homes, my fluffy Laha'a hat. I don't know if this GoPro is gonna turn out the kind of audio quality that I like to have. My regular GoPro sadly died while we were in Hawaii. It turned out to be not quite as waterproof as they say they are. So fortunately, one of our subscribers found out about this and offered me his GoPro. So I'll be able to keep filming with that after this weekend. In the meantime, I'm using this as a little GoPro session, and I've not found it to be very reliable at all. So cross my fingers that it might work.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
What did I do? You killed the car.
Today we are going to deal with one of the most notorious problems, if you are familiar with Volkswagens, is they are chock full of all sorts of smog equipment. And especially if you live in California, like I do, it has to all work in order for you to keep your car registered. Now, I've run into the problem this time around with our lovely, my son's 1.8 turbo Jetta, that it had a small leak in the secondary air injection system. And fortunately, I was able to find the problem, and it was the hose that comes out of the combi valve. Now, I have replaced this hose twice, and it is the FCP Euro lifetime warranty hose. So I could send it back in and wait for 2 weeks and get another replacement and be off to the races, but I would really like to be able to drive the car and smog it. So I will replace it eventually, but for right now I'm going to do a Ghetto approach to this fix just to get it working and get it past smog. So what I have done is I located where the leak was. It was on the underside of the hose right about here. And so I put some RTV silicone into the crack in here. And then I have used the wonderful, wonderful Flex Seal stuff and wrapped the whole hose with Flex Seal. And before you scoff and say, oh, that's garbage, it's never gonna work, confession time. I used Flex Seal to fix the secondary air injection on my Mk4 R32 10 years ago as a temporary fix, and it's still holding. So there's that. Hate me if you want, and yes, I should eventually get around to replacing that hose correctly as well. But in the meantime, it seems to work just fine. So I put the Flex Seal on. I'm going to put a hose clamp around the loose end of it just to keep that from unwinding. But the Flex Seal should be good enough. And then I am also going to put just a little bit of RTV silicone around the O-rings, because these O-rings are, they're a little flattened and a little worn. Pop that back in there, and then I'll use VCDS to set the readiness on this one system. All of the other systems test out fine, so I don't want to do a full reinitialization. You can go into the set readiness settings of VCDS and let it run through the whole process. It'll go through everything, but here's what I've found with a 1.8T. You run the risk of everything was working before and everything was green lights and everything was okay, and then one thing in the process turns out to not want to pass, whether it's your pre-CAT O2 sensor or your post-CAT O2 sensor. What I have found on this particular motor is the catalytic converter test, where it measures the effectiveness of it, doesn't like to pass consistently. I mean, it'll pass. Everything is stock on this motor, and it's pretty well maintained, Flex Seal notwithstanding. But the catalytic converter, for whatever reason, doesn't like to pass that test on the first try, and it can take a few times running through the whole system process before it eventually does pass. It's passed right now. I've got a green light, so I don't want to reset that. So what I'm going to do is, rather than go into the set readiness codes, I'm going to go to the basic settings. This one happens to be block 77, and I'll let it run the test from there, and that should set readiness just on the one system. All the rest of the system should be in good readiness, and then I should be good to go with getting her smogged. So I'm going to get to that, and hopefully it all works out. This hose is definitely one of the most big pain in the butts to install. It goes in through and underneath a bunch of stuff this way. Getting it to snap into the combi end of the hose is not great, but hopefully it'll play with us this time. And let's see if we have any luck. Usually it takes me a while, so. First try! Alright, now see if the other end plays as nicely. I'm not convinced that it has a really positive grip with the actual clips that are supposed to clip here, but let's see. I think the RTV is going to have to do its job there. So now we're just going to let that cure for however long RTV takes, at least a few hours. And we'll come back and test it and see if our little Ghetto fix worked. So, here's to hoping. If you have never had to deal with this before, here's where the combi valve is. You read about it, this is it right there. It's kind of underneath the intake, next to the valve cover, right here. And then this is where the hose runs. That is the pain in the butt that usually breaks, has an issue. It's pretty exposed to a lot of heat from the head. The cooling system hoses run really close to it, and of course this one up here is brand new on mine, but those tend to crack. All of these are just really, really bad quality plastic, and they crack over time. So replacing it is the ideal, but looks like, is it sitting in there? I can't tell if it's popping out or not. It might be popping out. No, it's staying. All right, so anyway, that's in there. I'll let it cure, and when the silicone cures, then we can test it and run the process. So hopefully that all worked out. In the past few days, and it has taken a few days, first of all, the Ghetto Flex Seal Fix did work with the SAI hose. So that is golden. However, the catalyst didn't want to reset, and that ended up being kind of a pain in the neck. So we had to drive the car a lot in order to get all the cycles to reset. There is a way to force readiness codes with VCDS. However, on the Mark IV, it is very particular, and it doesn't always work, even though you're running it through the cycles, because the temperature change sometimes affects it. It can't vary more than 4 degrees during the cycle while it is doing the readiness test, or it will abort the test and you have to start all over again. Now, it took me a few days of running the tests and running through the cycles. We put over 500 miles on the car, and finally, it all green lights, passed the readiness codes, and we were able to go get it smogged. So all done, mischief managed. It just took a lot longer than we thought. So that's done and ready. Coming up this next week, we're going to be getting into a couple of projects. One we've been looking forward to, the Corrado supercharger. We are getting into that finally, and we will hopefully have that ready to show in time for Dubs on the Shore, which is coming up in just a few weeks. The other project that we're going to be doing is my father's Fiat Spider that he left to me. We are going to be doing some repair work to that so that we can get it roadworthy in time for the Coronado 4th of July parade. So tune in next week, see if we were able to make that happen. Fingers crossed. And, as always, don't use Kung Fu Voodoo Monkey Death Grip when you're tightening stuff. It probably will not work out well for you on the back end. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you again to all our sponsors, those who are sponsoring us on Patreon. Thank you especially to Chris Cannoli for providing this GoPro camera to us after my GoPro died horrifically in Hawaii. We've got a new GoPro thanks to Dude Vader, so thank you. Thank you to
also all of our subscribers. We just hit 500 subscribers. It's kind of a milestone. I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's a big deal to me. So thank you for subscribing. If you have not already subscribed, why not? Hit that subscribe button, join in with the fun, catch us every week when we release a new video, and like and share. Please be the person that helps us out doing that. And we will hope to see you again very soon. And thank you. God bless. See you soon. Bye-bye.
You can shoot me a direct message. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. You know, you can hunt down my email off of my church website. I am a pastor at Quest Church San Diego. That's questsd.com, and you can find me there. So anyway, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you had fun watching this video. See you soon. Bye-bye.